Owen, do you think we should finally visit the moon? I don't know. I don't know why we're not going, but someone tried to get me, and they emailed me. They're like, "All right, Big Bear, time to admit you're full of shit," because China just went to the moon and they saw the robots, unmanned. So no other nation. And when people are like, "Oh, why wouldn't Russia try and disprove us?" They did, and they. So in 1968, we had technology to go to the moon, and we were open about all of it. We put it on the TV. You can check it all out at NASA, right? Just like they told Steph Curry, like, come down, we'll show you all of the technology. So no spy from Russia went to like NASA's technology and saw that trash can that they claim went to the moon, and they wanted to go to the moon to see if we really went. They never did. Neither did China. No one has ever been to the moon since 1973. And people are so hypnotized, man. Like, a lot of people bail on me because of this opinion, but I won't fucking hesitate. In fact, I know I'm over a target. So if Russia or China landed on the moon with human beings, not robots, human beings, and they walked around and they picked up the shit and they looked at the rover and stuff, I would question my opinion. I still would think it was possible that NASA covered their tracks and sent the shit up or whatever. But that would be, if a human being from another country goes to the moon and documents it, I will have doubt of my own opinion. The fact, not that much though, because in 50 years, no one's went. That's not how countries act. That's not how corporations act. That's not how human individuals act. I mean, guys, we have flags planted all over Greenland. The moon? You don't think that's every fucking kid's dream, every leader's dream, every military officer's dream? Obama said he was going to go to the moon. And just like Michelle Obama's anti-obesity campaign before she met with the Bohemian Grove Cowboys, she just bailed. She was like, "Oh, no more." When they first came in office, Michelle Obama, with her big swinging cock, was like, "I will stop childhood obesity." And then within a year, never talked about it again. It's the same with the moon. Obama was like, "I will go on the moon and do a moonwalk. I'll walk around, high five some people. I'm going to be on the moon. Just like me. It's half black, half white. Got a dark side of the moon. I got a dark side of my past. Half white, half black. I'll go to the moon." Never went. Went into obscurity, started focusing on Stormy Daniels. No one has ever went to the moon. So right now, you think the world really thinks that America's the only people that ever went to the moon with mysterious technology that only existed in 1968 to 1973? And no one else ever wanted to do that because countries are not competitive at all. That's nuts. It's so obvious that this is bullshit that it's not even like a conspiracy hoax theory. To me, it's mind-blowing that people think that in 1974, in the Cold War, bear in mind, Russia was beating us, and people say, well, it would have been cheaper just to fake it. That's not how it worked. We thought we could go. We kept trying. We couldn't. We faked it. It wasn't a plan from the beginning. Everyone wasn't in on it. But think about it. Russia was beating us in the space race. And this is the reason people hate me for this opinion, because it's not a conspiracy that takes away any stress. It just takes away pride. It takes away retarded imagination like Santa Claus. Like if I did a conspiracy theory that like the left is the reason, your kid's fat. Everyone's like, "Oh, dude, you speak the truth." Even if I have like no proof. Because you can blame your problems on someone else. When I say we didn't go to the moon, I just took something from you and you got nothing from it. And that's why you're so mad. Where it's like, "Oh, but all my dreams. But America, but the dreams, but the flag, but the space." I'm not in the business to make you happy. I'm saying what I see. There's no chance that the way we were shown. Now, did we go to the moon? Has everyone been to the moon and no one talks about it because there's aliens on the dark side? I can't say that isn't true because there's no way I can possibly know that. But the evidence is very, very clear that the way they showed it to us was all a lie. And unless you think that in the dead winter of the Cold War, 1968, they're beating us in the Cold War, right? They're advancing very fast because in Operation Paperclip, Russia also got some of these Nazi hotshot rocket scientists, right? So we go there, and then we go back 5 more times, and they just bail. They're like, yeah, you guys got it, man. You know what? Good fight. Good job. Were they like that with the bomb, the atomic bomb? Were they like that with anything else? Were they like that with Berlin? That's insane. And I'm so right that some people probably will be like, you can't even admit it after a while because it's so insane that you would even think that. That Russia was like, yeah, you know, we're just going to continue to develop the internet and, you know, these smart cars and flat screen TVs and satellites and just all the shit of the modern world. You know, nuclear fission, possibly nuclear fusion. We're going to and no one could do that simple feat that was. And people think that Russia didn't call us out, like that we were lying. Of course they did. Does no one else have Russian friends? I used to live with a girl that grew up in Siberia. She was a Siberian Jew. It was my longest relationship in LA except for Amy. No one there was taught that we went to the moon. Do you think that Russia was like, America went to the moon? Good job, America. No. They just don't report it in our newspapers. How does anyone believe this shit? It doesn't make any. And the thing that drove me a little wacky about this whole thing is my most logical, like, salt of the earth, you know, stand their ground, good dudes that like perceive what's in front of them, you know, logical, God-fearing, you know, Americans went the most crazy about this. There's no victims. I'm not talking about like who really killed your mom. It's about the moon landing, right? So even if I was wrong, which I'm not, it's not a big deal. It's literally not a big deal. But they fucking lost their minds. And not only am I not wrong, it's so obvious that it was faked that I can't believe that people are that susceptible to lies. Yeah, Russia never tried calling us out. Are you? How do people think that? Yeah, so just, and then they're like, oh, China went. No, they didn't. It was a robot, and there's no people. Why would no tin pot dictator in some country not want to go to the moon? Why would they watch all those astronauts, 24 astronauts, all from America? And even when you like Google, like, has China been to the moon, right? Google that. It's so vague. They're like, well, a Chinese person has been to the moon. Yeah, in one of the Apollo missions. China's never went to the moon. Russia's never went to the moon. Israel's never went to the moon. Iran's never been to the moon. England's never been to the moon. Sri Lanka's never been to the moon. India's never been to the moon. Brazil's never went to the moon. I mean, how is the moon supposed to get AIDS if Brazil doesn't go to the moon? And I can't believe that people don't understand that, like, and then like Bill Whittle will do wizardry and try to appeal to his aging audience about like the pride of the baby boomers. You know, he's like, nowadays people don't have the will. They don't have the hard work. They don't have the gumption to get to the moon. Our people, we put in a hard day's work. It's like, fuck you, wizard. You don't think that people alive now can work hard? Are you out of your fucking mind? No man's been to the moon. Listen, maybe this is a possibility. I'm open to this. Ready? They went to the moon. They found aliens in the dark side of the moon or something. It's like hollow. It's a bell. It's made by Nazis. I don't fucking care. I don't think this is true, but listen, I can't disprove what I'm about to say. All the nations in the world get together and they say, we can't reveal this to the people. We got to stick with this lie. And everyone's like, you guys in? It's like, yeah, we'll play our parts. We'll go up there secretly once every 6 months. Yeah, I can't disprove that. What I can disprove is the story they told us is all a lie. All of it. And I'm not even like saying that no human's ever been to the moon. It appears that way. It appears strongly that no human's ever been to the moon. But are they covering something and they have like an international ability of all keeping a secret at Bohemian Grove or some shit? Maybe. But no one went to the fucking moon. All right, I'll do 3 hours. So I'm at 2:47. I'll do 13 minutes. Are you trying to prove a negative? No. It's really easy. If someone says, I have a girlfriend in Canada, I go see her once a week. You can prove that that isn't true. You can't prove that he's never had a girlfriend. But like, if someone makes a statement, it's not that hard to disprove it. You know, that's how you disprove fraud. It's incredibly easy. It's just, it appears that there are way more to this, Owen. 6 of the 7 members of the Challenger are alive today. See, that stuff, I have no idea. I find some of that stuff, although you may be right, I appreciate the feedback, all that stuff. I find it all very confusing. I focus on one thing, I latch on it, and I grind and grind and grind until I fully understand it. And if people are like, yeah, I mean, the moon's a bell, it's like, that's interesting, but that does not help. That doesn't help me because then I'm always just shooting different directions. I'm a word engineer. I'm a narrative engineer. I'm a wizard engineer. Like, I can figure out the pieces of a puzzle. And if people just keep being like, Michael Jackson's dick was made out of rhinoceros horns, you know, like, I'm like, that very well might be true, but like, I can't right now. I saw a living Christmas tree. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I don't need to focus on this. It's like, I'm starting to get like annoyed by the pushback of it, actually. Daniel, you make a good point. Why have we never went back, especially now with all this modern technology? Because we never went. And people that say like there was no desire, there's no money, that's insane. NASA has a bigger budget right now, even adjusting for inflation, than it did in 1968. And everyone wants to go to the moon. And Clinton and Bush and Obama, they all had plans to go to the moon. They had these big rallies. We're going back to the moon. And they all cancel. But it's like, wizardry is so powerful that people don't question it. They're like, no one wants to go to the moon. Why would anyone want to go to the moon? Now we're going to Mars with more invisible nonsense. It's some powerful ass wizardry, man. And it's like, you can believe we went to the moon and I will still be your friend. I'll still respect your intellect. I'll respect you as a man. I've kind of chilled out a little bit about calling everyone who thinks we went a retard because, like, I'm sure there's shit that I believe right now that is absolutely false, and it's because I'm hypnotized. So I'm not going to be as disrespectful as I was in the beginning. In my defense, I thought it was hilarious calling everyone who thought we went to the moon a retard because it is the mass consensus. So, like, I'm literally claiming everyone's a retard. But, like, we didn't go. And please don't be disrespectful to me because then I will attack you. You can think what you want. I'm not going to disrespect whatever the fuck your worldview is because I don't think it's inherently evil that you think we went to the moon or you're even a weak man. But like, it's so ridiculous that people think that in the Cold War, Russia was like, they won. Fuck it, man. We're done. And no one went back. And we never went back. And China never went. And then when you think that NASA themselves said they destroyed the technology and it's too painful to rebuild it. Bear in mind, this is before they had adequate calculators. They were doing long math on paper. Let that sink in. And then all the telemetry data, 100,000 tapes. And they did not reveal this until they were caught in the early 2000s. They said they taped over the tapes because of budgetary problems in the 70s, and they're really sorry. Okay? If you believe all that, listen, the Van Allen belt, all that stuff, I don't need to touch on any of it. You're right, I'm not an expert in solar wind. Fine. No one needs to even address the fact NASA says that the Van Allen belt is an issue when it comes to Curiosity rover or whatever shit they're doing. They need all this lead. Because they forget their own lies. That's the problem with wizards. You can see it with Jordan Peterson all the time. He contradicts himself constantly. Guys, I was raised by a wizard. Like, my dad is, like, way better at wizardry than Jordan Peterson. He makes Jordan Peterson look like another lobster sodomite. Just a textbook, bib-wearing, just cock monster. I can spot it so good, man. What about the government's underground bases? I have no idea. See, that's some of that shit is like, I get moon landing is totally faked 100%. You also can't live broadcast from the lunar surface in 1968. Guys, I was raised by a wizard. That's hilarious that you pointed that out, Nicholas. Come on, I was raised by a wizard. That's hilarious. Tesla could have figured it out. Oh, and look at the wizards at CERN. I almost went there. Like, one of my close friends, a nuclear physicist, and he invited me to JPL and all that shit. I think it's all real weird now, though. And I used to think he was right about everything, and all his predictions were wrong. He's still my boy. He's a really funny guy. I used to have him open for me. Like, he's one of those guys, IQ probably 180. And he's been wrong about everything he's predicted. So it's not really the blessing that people think it is. Yeah. All right. NASA flight path and Bermuda Triangle connection. See, I don't know what any of that means. The super collider is absolutely creepy. They record over the tapes with episodes of Who's the Boss. It's hilarious. Okay, so you made your point. Is a Jew and an Armenian fighting? That's hysterical. JBP took a 21-day nap on the moon, right? Because he had a little bit of vinegar. Just don't tolerate liars. It's like, it's not fun anymore. It's like they're taking away the gender of our fucking children. This isn't fun. That's why, like, when I've called out, like, Jewish bullshit owners of, like, some of the lobbyists and some of the media places, you think that this is fun for me? Where people are like, what's up with Big Bear and his anti-Semitism? It's like, it's getting to a critical point where you got to call out everything you see, or else you kind of deserve what's coming, you know? And I'm not encouraging violence or any of that shit. That's insane. But you just got to put it to words. The stream is fun. Thank you, Static Void. Over 3,000 people. For Kubrick, working was, yes, thank you, Owen. Oh, anytime. I found so much joy in speaking truth. It's painful, but it's freeing. Yeah, once you get used to it, it's awesome. Because you get all your instincts. Your instincts, like, come in so strong. And then you see it in other people where they're so weak because they can't trust their inner thoughts. Because they've lied to themselves too much. Please read Dave McGowan, rest in peace, Wagging the Moon Doggy. Factual and funny like you, he was Solid the Earth genius. Yeah, I got into his work on Laurel Canyon. It's definitely freaked me out a little bit because I get it. But I think it's all good. I think they just try and kill your name now. Day cycle, night cycle, water cycle, air cycle, why no oil cycle? All must know oil, 70 now pumping water down well makes more oil. Bullshit. There's a natural cycle for oil. That's above my pay grade. All right. I'm just going to finish these off. NASA ruined the lives of 3 brave, proud astronauts by forcing them to lie for their entire lives. Plus, everyone knows the moon has AIDS. Dude, Buzz, those guys all became like crazy drunks, got divorced, and Neil Armstrong never spoke in public except one time. Like, they were broken. It was so hard on them. That's the thing, is I don't want to sound like I'm being a dick, like I don't respect astronauts and the Air Force and brave patriots and shit. It's like, they all got divorced and became drunks and got real kind of weird and secluded. And like in that first interview when they got back, they said they couldn't see the stars. And you can see Neil Armstrong like elbow one of his buddies. I can't remember if it was Buzz or Collins. But he's like, of course you can see the stars up there. Well, you can't see them through the atmosphere? He's like, I don't recall seeing any stars. And Neil was like, dude, shut the fuck up. It's all right on camera. He said you couldn't see any stars. Guys, that's the problem with lying, right? You don't lie because you don't know enough to lie. You can't do reality and non-reality. He said he couldn't see any stars, guys, in space. I'll play for you. I'm already, content issues detected. They already won't let me, they won't recommend this video already, so fuck it. YouTube. I'll show it to you right now. And if you think that it's valid that astronauts don't see stars in space, Neil Armstrong, Buzz, what was that called? Press conference. No stars. I should probably spark up the algorithm. There we go. Listen, I'll show it to you right now.
How do you propose to restore some normal?
There we go. There we go. And then we'll call it a night. But thanks for everybody. PayPal.me/feedthebear if you want to throw me a tip. Any of the super chats. Hugepianist.com for specials. But most importantly, hit like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the alert button. That shit. You want to talk about currency? Now that I can pay my bills, that's important that we spread this shit, because the acceptance of lies. And listen, you can believe the moon didn't happen and be a good guy, but let's just watch this and let me know if you think that there's no stars in space. And then, do you understand how many people have called me like an embarrassment and a retard and I should kill myself and my wife will leave me and all this shit? It's like, when people are like, why are you fired up? That's why sometimes I call you guys, or people that disagree with me, like real intense names and shit. You got to understand, I'm fresh off someone telling me I should kill myself half my fucking day. All right, what's this? Let's just watch the whole thing. It's only a minute and a half.
How do you propose to restore some normalcy to your private lives
audio
in
good?
the years ahead?
I'll read some PayPal. Sorry about that.
I wish I knew the answers to the latter part of your question.
Kind of depends on you.
When you looked up at the sky, could you actually see the stars and the solar corona in spite of the glare?
We were never able to see stars from the lunar surface or on the daylight side of the moon by eye without looking through the optics. I don't recall.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to say Neil's lying right there because I don't know what the solar glare or like what he's even talking about. And I don't have that kind of hubris. But one thing you got to remember, when someone says, I don't recall, be very wary. But watch what Buzz says right here.
Period of time that we were photographing the solar corona, what stars we could see.
I don't remember seeing any.
Neil, you were a little bit concerned, you said, about stubbing your toe at the point of landing because the surface was obscured by dust. Do you see any way around that kind of problem?
I didn't
for future landings on the moon?
I think the simulations that we have at the present time to enable a pilot to understanding the problems of a lunar landing, that is the simulator and the various lunar landing training facilities and trainers that we have, will do that job sufficiently well.
Well, just watch Buzz again and watch Neil elbow him. Watch this.
The moon
or Collins,
by
yeah.
eye without looking through the optics. I don't recall during the period of time that we were photographing the solar corona what stars we could see.
I don't remember seeing any.
Neil, you were
I don't remember seeing any. Do you understand the stars you would see in space? It would be spectacular. Like, you would be able to see, like, think of the stars you can see in Wyoming, and that's with an ozone layer, an atmosphere, all that stuff. In space, you would be able to see, you know, they talk about seeing, like, the sun come up over the Earth for, like, daybreak and stuff. The stars would be tremendous, but he doesn't remember seeing any, and the other guy, and Neil doesn't recall. And also, it's like, I haven't even been sharing with you some of the deep dives I've been doing. I've been watching old MIT videos, right? There's this MIT vault. I'm not going to lead you astray, guys. Like, if I'm saying some shit with this amount of passion, it's legit. Okay, I've been watching old MIT science videos from their vault. They're all black and white from the mid-'60s. And I'm watching these men go thoroughly through exactly how these machines work, and it's these puff pieces, but it's thorough. And we're talking MIT, right? They never once bring up any protection from radiation. Because you have to understand, you can always backtrack. Like once you understand the Van Allen belt or like any of that stuff, now NASA's like, well, there's harmful radiation and we need all these protection. In the old MIT black and white videos, they never once ever bring it up. And the material is so, it's not designed remotely to deal with solar wind or any radiation in deep space at all. They never mention it one time. They'll talk about the type of ladder. They'll talk about, they wouldn't bring it up ever. Like at one point, he like dramatically shows the lunar module, the landing leg, and it almost like scares the guy. You know, it's like he's showing off like how it's designed and how it like violently opens and stuff. No one ever discusses any of the problems that we now know exist in space because they didn't know they existed. They didn't know until later. They had no idea that that was even a factor. And then later they had to go back in time. And that's the thing about primary source documents, primary resources, like primary, like the actual documents from that time, is because they can't put wizard spells on it. There is zero reference to anything about radiation. So now when people say, oh, well, you can cure radiation with like this type of shielding and blah, blah, no, not buying it. They went through the materials, they went through why, they went through how it would protect people from various pressure changes and all this shit, or like splashing back in the ocean. They never once referenced anything that had to do with solar wind or radiation in the Van Allen belt. They're liars, dude. Buzz Collins said he couldn't see stars. NASA deleted all the tapes. They don't have the technology to go back. No other country's ever been back. And the last time anyone's walked on the moon was 1973. And that's not because we don't have enough money, resources, or technology. It's all bullshit. And so understand that when you understand as much as I do on this topic, and like I'm thorough as fuck. Like I'll look primary, like there's no references. There's no, like I'll talk about means, mode of opportunity, like all the different countries, like all the technology and shit. You got to understand when people are as disrespectful as some people have been to me on this topic, it's so revealing to their character. Because for me to tell someone that they're like an idiot or they're an embarrassment or stick to comedy or any of this shit, and to be wrong and to know nothing about any of this shit means you're a narcissist. It means you have no, possible thought of other human beings. And if someone could say, oh, well, you do that sometimes when you block people. I'm a comedian. It's insanely funny. Like if I block someone for saying they want to see my dick, that's comedy. That's funny. I'm not going to start going after people. Like going after Jordan Peterson or people like that, I'm not trolling. I don't want to debate him. I don't want him to react. I don't care at all. I'm showing you exactly what wizardry is. And I'm right. And I'm only going to be seen as more right in the future when I go after hormone blockers in children or David Hogg's narrative. And the reason that the moon landing thing drives people so crazy is because they don't want to give up that victory. They don't want to give up that pride, even in the face of reality. It's like, what else are you doing that with? What else are you doing that in your own life? What else are you doing that with? It's like, you got to keep your instruments fine-tuned or else you're fucking vulnerable, dude. I got to get out of here.